Hello everyone, today I have a great pleasure to speak with our new member, Jerin, who is now based in Toronto in Canada. And she's a founder and SEO of the Prana Network. My first question is if you can share a little bit more about your background and what you want the members of our community to know about you and your business.
My pleasure. Hello everyone. Just really an honor to be able to share this experience with you all. My background is quite interesting. Actually, I started my education into civil engineering, and from there, I did work into the technical project management area for Heinz and Shell Oil Company and Amazon in the United Kingdom. And afterwards, I needed a change, and I did my MBA in global strategy, marketing, and entrepreneurship from Boston. And onwards and upwards from there, I really joined the digital marketing and digital transformation world. And I worked for a lot of world-leading brands like Tiffany & Co. and Altria, Cablevision. And from there on, I knew that I wanted to do something else. About 2 years ago, I knew it was time for a change. I got into the artificial intelligence and the blockchain world quite early. And one of the things that came through my research was the future of work, that how does people really view how technology is impacting our life. And one of the major thing was people thought just because information was so available that everybody understood it or everyone had the same perception about it. And I really saw that I have friends in different area in life that wasn't necessarily the case. So in 2018 I decided to create an education platform called Doctrina, through which I still actually provide artificial intelligence, the cutting edge digital transformation, blockchain technology advisory. And we mostly serve currently fintech and insurance companies. And since last year, I would say, yes, I have established my yoga practices. I'm also a Kundalini yoga and a mindfulness teacher. And I created the Prana Network. And this really came up during this COVID-19 when I started to teach from home. Is I saw the need for people from all across the world to not only have the ease and the accessibility to be able to have a practice, where they can really ground themselves. I'm sure you have all seen when the COVID hit back in March 2020, a lot of people are so frustrated on social media. They didn't know how to really hold themselves. And, sure, this pandemic probably have just showed us what is it that's really missing, but I think it definitely have taught us a lot more about how to take care of ourselves. So the Prana Network is really all about bringing all of the different types of healing modality, Kundalini yoga, mindfulness, different types of nutrition, education, all in one platform, because I have spent over 20 years of my life not only spending thousands of dollars and hours and research into it, and I saw that everyone needs different things at a different point in their life. And I thought, people like yourself, just very, very busy women, we don't have the time to often go to different places. Like, how does my wellness routine really looks like? So that was really my inspiration to create Prana Network, that people who are really busy, they can just come over there and they can just click and, really take care of themselves. So that's where really I'm at right now.
So what kind of event in your childhood, when you realize I'm a woman and I'm very passionate about tech, and actually I want to have a career in technology, and then you study hard, entering all these great companies. I know you also did some presentation at Globus University here in Tokyo. So where that passion is coming from? Is that just one event, or you realize doing different things? How was that experience?
That's a really good question, Edward. Actually, my father was an engineer, so I guess it sort of just ran into my genetics as well. But that very defining moment in my life was I was only 3 years old, and there was a magazine in our home, and I saw, I think...
You still remember that when you were 3 years old?
I still remember that page of that magazine. Okay. It happened yesterday. And there was an article about Kalpana Chawla, the Indian-American astronaut, who unfortunately passed away. And there was an article about her and her black and white picture. And I don't know why, I saw her and I said, I'd like to become an astronaut like her. And that moment literally have defined my entire life. And my parents wanted me to become a doctor. So obviously there was this focus on technical education, but I wanted to become an engineer. Obviously, I wanted to go to become an astronaut in my life. So I really planned everything. So the engineering, the technical education was already there. And as I went to university, you go into the workforce and you just sort of go with the flow. My career sort of went into like, an opportunity came and I just said, why not? Like, what have I got to lose? My whole life is based on that. So, when you're really young, just, maybe, middle of your, like, 21, 22, you don't probably even understand how your life is going to go. I mean, I used to think I do, but now I no longer do. But it was more of like really trusting my instinct that, what, why not? If not now, then when? So I really just sort of was curious, and that's really where it led me to where I am today, I would say.
You said you understand how busy some people might be, and you mentioned female entrepreneurs, right? So how do you think you can help first yourself and all other busy female entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs to have a time to think deeper about, you mentioned yoga, health, those kind of topics which are not necessarily related for their careers, and where we can put friends and family in that busy schedule?
That's again another really great question. This whole concept really started for me back in 2015. I had what is the word called? Like, I almost had a breakdown in a sense, not so much of a mental breakdown, but a physical breakdown in my finance class. I just was really overworked. I was not sleeping. And it was very difficult. And long and story short, I just really had to change my lifestyle to accommodate that because I really just couldn't move forward anymore had I not done that. And I realized that just not like myself, there are so many women out there. There is always a pressure on women. I think whether or not people don't acknowledge that, we have to be successful in our career in these days. You have to be independent, then you have to raise children, and you have to be these perfect parents. Everything is about perfection for women. Whether even the women who are very aware and is still subconsciously is very much ingrained within us. And there is also a cultural aspect to it. You grow up and you're taught to be all of these things very perfectly. So I really had to learn in last 5 years, how can I not sacrifice the career that I want to build, but at the same time, I really become the best version of myself and live my life to the fullest point. And, the very first single most thing that really came up was my time management skill. And also learning 80-20 rule that you don't have to do everything perfectly, but there has to be something really important that you have to prioritize. And having those disciplines, those time management skill helped me to keep time for friends and family, to be able to learn new things, for exercising, because we all tend to let go of the exercise, the meditation, the eating right part the first when life gets busy and corporate world is extremely challenging. And number two is, where I think the uniqueness of my experience comes in is that I've actually tried many different ways of incorporating them to see what works for me or not. And obviously, it's not something that, one size fits all, because some people might have a newborn child and their lifestyle may look very different than some people have grown up children, and some people don't have children. But I think at the end of the day, it is really having that clear cut intention that, if I don't take care of myself, if I don't prioritize myself, I really cannot be there for anyone, let alone myself. That's number one. And number two is that, I really created this program is step by step, how to carve out this time, even if it's 31 minutes in your day. But that consistently is the most important thing, even that's 11 minutes or 3 minutes. And once you do it, your neurological pattern starts to change. And not to ignore those repeated action over the time, and even if it's a short period, that can really change your life. And that's why I'm so excited to create the Prana Network. And I think because not only that, I have healed myself, but now I know I'm working on 3 different companies, and I still have almost 3.5 hours of a practice and wellness routine for myself. And that has only given me the energy to do more. And I think that's why I'm able to share this with others, and I'm very excited to do so.
Now you're on the place that you are basically limited with your actions because of the COVID-19. But that also changed the way how you're thinking. How is that experience for you, and what you can suggest based on that experience to other members who are maybe confused now? What should I do next, and how to prioritize the new things in the new
Normal.
in the new world. I don't like to say that, but in the new world, let's say. I don't like to say new normal, but let's say in the new normal.
Better word. That's a really good question. So I think first I would just share my own experience.
Yeah.
How it really happened. I think when in Toronto the lockdown happened exactly on March 15th, and I think a lot of our lives just literally changed overnight in some aspect. But I just knew right away, I'm very intuitive, that it wasn't a time to be external, because whether it's metaphorically and whether it's literally, like on a literal sense, we are confined and we are asked by the universal energy to be with ourselves. By being confined in your home, it literally means is you're contained within yourself. It's not about the outside world, but it's really your private life, your personal life, and to be with you. And since I'm really used to living by myself, so it wasn't like so much of a difficulty of like, well, you know what, I'm alone. But I know it became very difficult for a lot of people. And for me, I really just took 2 weeks to do things that I didn't have the time to do, like, connecting with my family. They live far away. I don't really get to talk to them. And I just sort of let things flow. I didn't try to change things. I didn't try to control things. And it was a natural flow. And, these are things that I wasn't necessarily like this in the past. Like, I always wanted to control things. I was like, no, I really need to make my agenda happen. These are my plan, and why aren't they happening? But I knew right away that this was one of those times that sometimes we just have to learn, it's like surfing. You just have to learn to ride the wave, really. That's one of the things I have learned. And from April, I just felt, what is it that I can do at this moment? Because I can't change the outside. And I became really super focused and micro focused, almost to the point that I felt this lockdown is going to end sooner or later. But now, before the COVID-19, I used to travel all the time, over 2 to 3 weeks in a month. I was in a different country. I was barely at home. That tiredness and exhaustion is there. And, and you really do feel, I think a lot of audiences can relate to that your creative energy can suffer from that often, because you're always on a plane and you're coming back with the jet lag. And I thought, what is it that I can do with this available energy that I have? And again, and then when I started to work through it in the beginning, I thought, I always wanted to write a book. Why not do it? I started to do so. I really just, number one, I cut off all of the distractions that I did not need. Number one, and number two, I just really prioritize it. Is that what is it that I have to do? Because otherwise, what happens is the external energy can really affect you, and we have to be so aware of that. That we're all energy, and we're all sending energy, and some people are in a little bit more negative energetic state than compared to positive. And if you're really positive, they're going to come at you to get that. So it's so important to have those boundaries so you can really choose you first. And especially as a female entrepreneur, because you have a lot of different responsibilities that you have to handle. And afterwards, I also just increased my own spiritual practice time, like from 2.5 hours to like almost 3.5 hours. And that gave me this incredible mental and physical and spiritual stamina to moving forward. And, all of this idea really just came up, and it was more like, yeah, this is the time, go do it. And, I didn't even question. I was like, sure, let's just move ahead. What have I got to lose? And really from there on, one of the biggest lessons I learned this year, and I was never really good at that, I'm always about the future planning. Like my calendar is usually booked like a year ahead. Like I have my travel plans booked, and I all of a sudden found like all of this planning is kind of meaningless, because I can't really plan where I'm going to travel even a few months later or next year. So I had to clear that. And it was liberating, really, to a lot of extent, because now that my calendar was clean, I could truly be present in this moment, and I could just live life, instead of focusing on, well, when am I going to raise the funds? Well, is somebody going to buy my product? Instead of worrying about those, I could just really reframe what is it that I can do today instead of what is it that the outcome going to be. So I think that being able to execute became such a bigger priority, because execution needs a certain types of space that you really need to be able to hold yourself, and you have to reduce the clutter around that. So yeah, I would say COVID-19 has really, helped me to hone in that skill of being able to be very focused and centered, and really focus on creating something that's tangible and very solid.
And because you are the new member of our community, and communities contain of over 800 female entrepreneurs from over 70 countries. So what will be like top three things you want them to remember of you? So how you can participate with all your experience, with all your knowledge, and if you have any service or product.
Absolutely. Thank you. Number one, I think after being in the business world for over 16 years, I've learned one thing is that there is no shortcut to success, and then there's no shortcut to relationship building. And I think being nice goes a long way. And I have learned that I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for a lot of people selflessly giving their time and advices to me, and just being kind to me. And I think at the end of the day, people really remember you for how you made them feel. They don't remember your resume. They don't remember any of those things. So the number one thing I want to say is I would like to be here for people as a friend. If you need a listening word, if you just need an advice, please write to me. I want to be able to be there for people, and just be able to provide even an advice, or just listen to whatever it is. I think being human is the number one thing. Then it becomes an entrepreneur and whatnot. Number two is, I was very lucky, I would say. I had the opportunity to work in different area of life, which is, technology, digital transformation, marketing, and now into wellness world. And I really do understand the challenges of, how does all of this really work, and what is it? How do you navigate them and be in a positive state of mind and be able to move through? And I do also advise a lot of different startups all over the world. So I would be really happy to maybe give you feedback on your business plan. If you need an advisor, happy to either connect you with somebody in your industry. Anything that you need around the startup world, I'll be happy to offer their services. And number three, under the Prana network, what I decided to do, because a lot of my friends comes to me and they always ask me for different advices, and what I've been seeing, especially in the last 5 months, and we are really into different energy, since 2012 in the world, more so now, that spirituality and our life is not a separate thing. We are a spirit, so anything we do is a spiritual, whether it's a business, whether it's meditation, whether it's eating out, they're all a spiritual activity. And because my practices has helped me so much to become 100% of who I really am. And I really wanted to share that with everybody, so we can have more of a fuller life and a better life. Life is not about perfection, but I think it's really about journey. So I've created this 12 months of a program where it's a one-on-one work program to work with me, and I do offer a monthly one-on-one meetings and a group video calls, and a set program of a weekly yoga classes with me, mindful classes, and all of this is going to be listed on my website. So if anybody who is really busy but needs somewhat of a structure to work with somebody who understands how this can fit within their lifestyle, whatever that might be, I would be really happy to be able to work with you. And this program is going to be available. It's going to be www at the prananetwork.com. So I guess these are the top three things I'm able to provide you with. But beyond all of that, if you just ever have any question, happy to answer that to you as well.
If I can be selfish, then please help more women to understand what tech is. That is not something which is very scary, and that it can be a very great career for them. If you can bring us your perspective, female perspective, and you like technology and you know how technology is powerful. And my last question is, because you have been living in Asia and now in North America, and you also have experience from Europe. Which one do you think is your next destination? North America, Europe, or Asia, and why?
Well, that's a tough question, but the answer is all of them, all of the above. Again, it's a stroke of luck that I always knew I was going to come to North America for my studying. but and I was born in Asia, and I went to work in Europe, but that was really a fluke of luck, just sort of happened. One of those things I just decided to say yes to. But I'm really glad that I did. I personally think that because we truly live in a global world, and it's not it's really about what stages of your life that you are in, and what your personal values are, and who you are as a person. That's important. And for me, that even though Asia is really like the next hotspot right now, but I think it's important to remember who you are as a person and what your value systems are, and where you really feel home. I do feel North America will always be my home because I really became an adult here. But I do also see, and Asia is also home because I grew up there and I have so many family and friends. And I just really love Europe because of the culture. And if I may say so, I think that the true modern world, in order to reduce discrimination, inequality, in order to create a fulfilling world, it is about merging all of that together. It is about really understanding that we're all the same. The borders were created by humans. It wasn't a natural thing. And I think we should all be empowered, and we should all be empowered and give ourselves the permission and freedom to choose. Wherever you want to live, it's okay if it makes you happy. And I think if today I may feel this way, 10 years down the road I might feel totally different, and that's totally okay. And this is why I think I've decided to build this life for myself 3 years ago, is that I wanted to just follow my heart and just like take it all in. The world has so much to offer, like why settle for just one thing? Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree that it really depends. It depends about personality. You can live everywhere and be happy, or you can live everywhere and be not happy. So it's really different reason. But anyhow, thank you so much for this interview. Thank you for sharing your story. Yeah, please be active member. Share with us your insights. Give us more idea how women in tech can start business. Give us more idea how busy women can relax and find a good balance between health and wealth. And yeah, we are very happy to have you. We are here to support you, and I hope we will all grow together. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Edward. It's been a pleasure. Really, really appreciate it, and I look forward to connect with all of you. Thank you very much.